Hello again, everyone. In this video, I will go over DPS Sub Roles in PvP. I was going to cover matchmaking and counterclass dynamics in this video as well, but I ultimately decided against it. I will go over those two topics in future videos. Now onto the content. Those of you that have played PvP in Guild Wars 2 may be familiar with the 4 sub-roles. These 4 sub-roles are DPS, Duelist, Roamer, and Support. Neverwinter Online also has these exact same sub-roles. Unlike the 3 official roles of DPS, Healer, and Tank, the 4 sub-roles aren't mentioned anywhere on your character sheet, but are very much present. These sub-roles are just a shorthand way to explain what each class or paragon excels at and what their job is in PvP. The 4 sub-roles are more specific than the 3 official roles are, and it can greatly improve your understanding of the classes to learn about them. They can also help clue you into what each class's weaknesses are in PvP. As a disclaimer, the following explanation I will give for each of the 4 sub-roles assumes you only have that sub-role and no others. In reality, most classes or paragons have 2 of these, and sometimes a little bit of a 3rd sub-role. Even the classes that only have 1 sub-role still have leftover tools from their past where they used to have multiple sub-roles or a different sub-role than the one they have today. Now to define the 4 sub-roles. Let's start with the DPS sub-role, which despite having the same name as the official DPS role, isn't the same thing. Classes that have the DPS sub-role are able to dish out the most damage in team fights. They ideally should be in a team fight, and their potential is being wasted if they are forced to fight alone a lot. They usually have somewhat spread out feeling damage that isn't as focused, but not always. They can continuously keep attacking with minimal downtime, and they tend to be initiator classes, meaning they usually attack first. Moving on to the next role, we have Duelist. Duelists excel at winning 1 vs 1s and defending blue nodes for prolonged periods of time. They are the most self-sufficient role. They usually can continuously keep attacking with minimal downtime, at the cost of being less good at focus killing enemies as part of a group than the other options are. Duelists are usually tanky too. Now on to the 3rd sub-role. Roamer is the ultra-mobile hit-and-run sub-role. Roamers do calculated and well-timed burst damage, but tend to have pitifully low damage when their burst damage isn't ready and the longest downtimes, making them the worst role at pressuring enemies. Their damage typically feels very focused and secure compared to the other sub-roles. They are really good at securing kills with the help of their teammates, and they usually attack last. For this reason, I used to informally call classes with this sub-role Support DPS before I knew the real name for this sub-role. Roamers typically have the lowest impact on winning matches out of all damage dealer sub-roles, but are still very useful. And lastly, we have the Support sub-role. This role is reserved for classes and paragons that excel at buffing teammates and debuffing enemies, healing, or being super tanky. Some paragons with the support subrole can also do good damage. All 4 of the official healer roles in this game are pure support. They don't do any significant damage. As you can see, I just changed the text block on the screen again. That is a list of the subroles for each class. As a disclaimer, this list is mostly using information from Module 21. In Mod 22, I wouldn't expect this list to change much. Burst damage is so far more useful in Mod 22 than it was in Mod 21 though. Mod 22's meta is proving to be very similar to Mod 19's meta so far. I will also read through it for you. Each class's subroles. Wizard is DPS crossed with Duelist. Wizard is also the only damage dealer besides Bard that isn't dependent on killing enemies to turn matches. This is because of Wizard's repel and counter power. Fighter equals DPS crossed with Duelist. They can provide a little bit of support also. Bard is support crossed with Roamer. Ranger is Roamer crossed with DPS. Cleric equals pure DPS. In recent past metas, they were crossed with Duelist and support. They can provide a little bit of support even today. Warlock is Duelist crossed with Roamer. Rogue equals pure Roamer. In very old metas, Rogue had a specialized feat tree that was a Duelist. They still have some of those tools, but function as a Roamer only right now. Rogue also temporarily gained the 3rd role of DPS in very old metas where they were OP. Barbarian is mostly Roamer, but could be considered as crossed with Duelist when tanky enough. They probably have had the DPS role before in very old past metas. Paladin is mostly support. They can be built for a little bit of DPS, but they aren't good at it. All 4 healers equal pure support. That is everything for now, guys. See you next time.